As the world becomes increasingly fast-paced and competitive, executives in boardrooms around the globe are facing an unprecedented challenge: how to stay ahead of the curve in a rapidly shifting corporate landscape. With new trends and changes in consumer behavior constantly emerging, companies must decide whether to be first movers, acting quickly to capitalize on these shifts, or fast followers, waiting for others to pave the way. But what if there was a third option? What if companies could ride new trends to success without risking everything, even without a roadmap? That's the premise of this book, Forget Being a Fast Follower: How to Shape the Corporate Landscape Without a Roadmap. In its pages, readers will discover carefully constructed provocative strategies for keeping pace with and even shaping a shifting corporate landscape without putting everything on the line. They'll learn how to pinpoint phase changes and make the most of them, why a minimally viable move is often better than big, bold action, and why calculated failure can sometimes be the best option. For anyone looking to navigate the corporate landscape with confidence and agility, this book is an essential read. Whether you're a seasoned executive or just starting out in the business world, the insights contained within its pages will help you make the most of every opportunity and stay ahead of the curve. Chapter 1. In the late 2000s, a high-ranking executive sat in his office with two data analysts, listening to their latest findings. While a majority of their client base was behaving as usual, a small percentage had started to interact with the company's product in a different way. The analysts believed this could be the start of a trend, but the executive wasn't convinced. He asked how many consumers were involved, and when they replied with only 1.75%, he dismissed the idea and ended the meeting. Little did he know that the 1.75% were early adopters of video upload websites like YouTube, and that dismissing their behavior would be a costly mistake for the company. This scenario is all too common in the corporate world. Large corporations often miss early signs of significant trends because they view them through the filter of their own experiences and overanalyze the data before responding. As a result, they are left playing catch-up with their competitors or, at worst, becoming a wind-down firm. But there is a way to capitalize on and shape future trends, even without a roadmap. This book offers provocative strategies for keeping pace with a shifting corporate landscape, pinpointing phase changes, and taking calculated risks. So, if you want to stay ahead of the game and avoid being left behind, keep watching. Chapter 2. It was a typical Tuesday morning when Jenna walked into her office at the tech startup where she worked as a product manager. She was still bleary-eyed from staying up late the night before, researching a potential new trend that she had identified. She had been poring over data, analyzing consumer behavior, and conducting market research for weeks, trying to determine whether her hunch was a passing fad or a true game-changer. Jenna's boss, Alex, was sitting at his desk when she walked in. He looked up as she entered and greeted her with a smile. "Hey, Jenna," he said. "How's the new project coming along?" Jenna took a deep breath before responding. "I think I've found something big," she said. "But it's still in the if stage. I'm trying to figure out if it's going to become a when." Alex leaned back in his chair and listened as Jenna explained her research. She had identified a new technology that was gaining traction in the marketplace. It was something that consumers wanted, it was technically feasible, and there were no legal barriers to its adoption. But it was still early days, and Jenna wasn't sure if it was just a passing fad or something that was going to change the industry forever. "Sounds interesting," said Alex. "What do you want to do about it?" Jenna smiled, feeling a sense of excitement building inside her. "I want to take a risk," she said. "I want to invest in this new technology and get ahead of the curve. I think it's going to be the next big thing, and I want us to be the first to capitalize on it." Alex raised an eyebrow, impressed by Jenna's conviction. "Okay," he said. "Let's do it. But we need to move fast. We don't want to miss the phase change." Jenna nodded, feeling a sense of adrenaline pumping through her veins. She knew that this was her chance to make a real difference, to prove that she had what it took to spot a trend before it became a phenomenon. She grabbed her laptop and got to work, determined to make her mark on the industry. As she worked, Jenna couldn't help but think back to the early days of the pandemic, when toilet paper was the most coveted commodity on the planet. It was a reminder that sometimes the most unexpected trends could become the most significant. And for Jenna, that was a lesson worth remembering. Chapter 3. Samantha had always been a curious and adventurous child. Her older brother, Lucas, loved to tease her and push her buttons, but their parents always warned him, "Don't provoke your little sister." One day, while playing in the backyard, Samantha stumbled upon a small pond. As she peered into the murky water, she saw something move beneath the surface. Without hesitation, she reached in to grab it. Suddenly, a sharp pain shot up her arm, and she realized she had been bitten by a tiny shark. The incident left Samantha shaken, but also intrigued. She began to research sharks and their behavior, and soon became obsessed with the idea of provoking positive change for these often misunderstood creatures. She reached out to a marine biologist who shared her passion, and together they began envisioning a future where humans and sharks could coexist peacefully. They developed scenarios for sustainable fishing practices and educational programs to raise awareness about the importance of sharks in the ocean's ecosystem. Their first action was to launch a social media campaign using the hashtag #SaveTheSharks. They framed their action by setting a goal of reaching 100,000 followers within the first month. And, with the help of a few celebrity endorsements, they hit their target within the first week. But they didn't stop there. They continued to test and recalibrate their strategy, using data and feedback to refine their approach. Soon, they were able to secure funding for a research project that would track the movement and behavior of sharks in the wild. Through their bold thinking and provocative action, Samantha and her team were able to bring about a positive change for sharks and the environment. They proved that even the smallest voices can make a big impact, as long as they have a clear vision, a well-framed plan, and a willingness to adapt and innovate. Chapter 4. As the CEO of a leading software company, Sarah had always believed that her business would never become obsolete. She had a clear vision for the company's future and believed that her team's innovative ideas would keep them ahead of the game. But that all changed when a new technology emerged that threatened to disrupt the entire industry. Sarah had heard whispers about this new technology for months, but she had dismissed it as just another passing trend. However, as more and more competitors began to adopt the new technology, Sarah realized that she could no longer ignore the changing landscape of the industry. At first, Sarah was in denial. She refused to believe that her company's software could become obsolete. But as she watched her competitors slowly gain an advantage, she knew that she had to take action. She gathered her team and explained the situation. They were all shocked and scared, but Sarah was determined to turn this threat into an opportunity. She knew that they needed to adapt to survive. The team began to brainstorm new ideas and strategies. They researched the new technology and found ways to incorporate it into their own products. They also started to explore new markets and niches that their competitors had overlooked. It wasn't easy. The transition was long and painful, and there were setbacks along the way. But Sarah and her team were determined to succeed. They worked tirelessly to restructure the company, retrain employees, and pivot the company's offerings. And in the end, their hard work paid off. The company emerged from the transition stronger than ever before. They had not only adapted to the changing industry but had also pioneered new products and services that their competitors had never thought of. Looking back, Sarah knew that the company's success was due to their willingness to admit defeat and adapt to the changing landscape. They had taken a page out of Billy Durant and Intel's playbook and had driven the trend rather than being left behind by it. Sarah was proud of what they had accomplished, but she also knew that they could never become complacent again. The industry was always changing, and they needed to stay ahead of the curve if they wanted to survive. Conclusion. As you reflect on the advice given about being a great leader, you realize that it's not just about having a vision or coming up with a strategy. It's about taking action and constantly adapting to new situations. You understand that being a great leader means taking risks and being willing to make mistakes. But most importantly, it means having the courage to do something instead of just waiting for the perfect opportunity. You start to implement these principles in your life and your work. You encourage your team to take risks and try new things. You create an environment where feedback is welcomed and failure is seen as a learning opportunity. And as you do, you begin to see the results. Your team is more engaged and productive, and your organization is better positioned to handle the challenges that come its way. As you reflect on your journey, you realize that adopting the principles of provocative strategy and taking action is not easy. It takes courage, hard work, and a willingness to step outside of your comfort zone. But the payoff is worth it. By constantly testing, gathering feedback, tweaking, and testing again, you can stay attuned to phase change and even drive it. You understand that being a great leader is not a destination but a journey, and you're excited to see where it takes you next. Now, the insights and knowledge I gained from reading Provoke were phenomenal. I highly recommend it. Thank you for taking the time to watch, and if you found value in this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more great content. Trust me, you won't regret it.